It is. It's Lillian what? Oh, what a pretty girl, and what a pretty name. You're a sweetheart. How old are you, Lillian?
2.
You're 2?
Yeah.
How many are 2?
2.
How many, like this many?
2.
Like 2 like that? Oh my goodness. Well, you certainly are a nice girl. Do you have a brother or a sister?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
You do? Oh, you have sisters? Oh. Oh, look at Lillian.
I know what's up there.
Do you know what's up there?
I know that.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, is there something up there? Okay. Our home always reflect the love of Jesus Christ, which it has through the years. Here's one of our earliest arrivers, Dorothy Entrican, and here comes Robert.
There's a couple more behind us.
And a couple more behind you. Great. Hi, Robert. Another arriver. Who is that? Oh. Catherine Frank? Oh, Carmona.
She was a school teacher.
Oh. Oh. And they're making some preparation for decorations. There she is. Do you see my little red light?
Yeah. Oh, is that her one?
Yes. Oh, we're off to a good start. Here's our dear Clare.
Honey, this is for you and Bob to read when you get home.
Oh, thank you so much, Clare. Thank you so much for this evening. Oh, look at that. Oh, Jackie Brooke. Baby. Hello, Jackie. Clare always has such a wonderful collection of specimens for her talks.
You had a busy day, didn't you?
I sure did. It was wonderful.
Good.
you? Clara?
Mother.
You're a mile old, ain't you?
That's what he said.
Time with her,
These are our early arrivals. Her name's Lillian, isn't she, darling? Lillian. And her daughter Joan. Hello, darling. Thank you.
In their way, you know.
Second time.
I'm going to take plenty of rain this last yeah. Yeah, well, in the last month we've had plenty of rain, so that probably helps a lot. Yeah, well, we're real lucky.
Was it 45?
She talks to me. Here come the Johnsons, and there's Lucy. That's Kitty and Scott Johnson.
There were 6 May brothers.
Oh, look. What was that taken? That was taken, it either was the day before or about
Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanksgiving weekend.
This year?
Well, last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With 88?
Yeah, 88. Yeah, it was.
Well, the new windows are in.
No,
No?
they're old storm windows. The
And
white-
that porch was there?
Yeah, that was before they. That was about 2 days before they
But
started to
Thanksgiving
dig.
88. I don't remember the porch.
Yeah.
And there's Jenny. Beautiful. What a... We thought the one we saw yesterday was pretty.
To announce where they came from.
From in the woods, don't they? But you just find them once in a while, not very often.
Very, very seldom. Yeah, they grow
Well, I think this
in the
was
woods.
taken.
Very, very.
Oh, okay.
Marie, our news, spring juice, leeks.
You told me she thought you
nice. Very nice.
Was a little girl. I was a little girl.
And she
The other one this side.
No, I won't. There's my cousin Buzz and his wife, my cousin Clara. Ellis. This is so special.
Hello, stranger.
Is your cousin from Pleasantville?
No, he's from Townsend's Inlet. Yes.
How you doing, Chief?
Fine.
We were sorry
Good
we
thing
got
my wife
separated
can
the
read.
other day, but
Yeah, I know.
that was
It's a shame. I
kind of,
felt,
yeah,
I felt
like
that I
understood.
I really did.
Redhead. I mean, I should write a note to Joe. I will. Yeah. But Fred was getting with was insistent his home
It's very nice.
is
One of those that arrangement could have been made.
That's a picture, a graduation
you.
picture. No, Bob, Uncle George, and two of his aunts, Aunt Bertha and Aunt Emma, I believe. Isn't that nice?
What year is that?
Clare. Clare. Claire, these are my cousins from Townsend's Inlet. Claire Campbell's our dear friend, and my cousin Bus and Cora Ellis. That's a picture that Claire had.
Was it high school? Was it? I don't know. Was a picture from high school graduation? You didn't know something about high school, did you?
Teacher. She's pretty old.
No, you just call. That's my Uncle George.
Will that be high school?
Yeah. That's the whole class.
Yes, I understand. He looks much older. I don't know.
No, it just
Maybe it's my class.
no, it just kind of looks that way.
Iden Bill Cassidy.
Some things look so much easier. Maybe that's the whole story.
County.
You want me to call all the family up front or not?
Mr. Brown and Betty back there. Wonderful.
Did you keep the same exterior, the wooden exterior?
Yeah. Of course, it's new cedar siding, and we added on to the back, and then a porch come over.
There's Bill and
That's
Mickey.
larger than I am.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
The part on the left was built in 1886, and the part on the right was built in 1804. Actually, it's
You don't need renovating yet, do you?
I guess what?
You don't need renovating yet, do you?
No, I hope not. What's that red light I see in there?
That means it's on.
obviously graduation, because there's a decent 6 years between Carl was a little in 92.
Well, our seats are filled, so maybe we'll start. It's really wonderful to see all the new faces here tonight and our regular members too. And I hope after the meeting you'll all meet our membership chairman maybe and join us. That would be great. Yeah, we would like a lot to have you all for members. We have a lot of really important important things to talk about at our business meeting tonight, but we're going to put it off until after the program. But we hope that you'll all stay because there are very, very important things coming up. And we're really glad to have Clare Campbell with us tonight, looking so wonderful and well again. And so I'd like us all to stand, please, and salute the flag. Is that a steel here?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So now I'll turn the program over to Dorothy Entrican, our program chairman, and she'll introduce our guest speaker.
Well, it's our pleasure, my pleasure, and the whole of us, Clare Campbell will speak on Arbutus Hill, and we also have Bob and Jim here. They're the ones that you're going to tell me a thing.
Okay, there it is. Turn the program over to you. Let's go to
I'm a little bit overwhelmed, and I'm thrilled to death to see so many here. I remember President Kennedy said once when he looked at his wonderful audience that the only time there had been a finer audience was when Thomas Jefferson dined alone. And I echo that tonight. Ordinarily, I do not use notes because I just like to stand up here and talk. But Arbutus Hill, and this is the way it looked before restoration began, and I hope you all will come up and examine it. It's a beautiful picture, thanks to June and Bob Caldwell. So, to keep from talking until the wee hours, because I could, about Arbutus Hill, I have made some notes. Arbutus Hill, the Caldwell homestead. It is my hope that this evening will prove to be remembered as a very special night, treasured in your thoughts, because Arbutus Hill was a delightful place and a very happy home. As for me, I choose simply to be the window through which I hope you can see it as I saw it from the time I was in the 3rd grade. That's quite a few years ago. The men who built this house in 1886 built it better than they knew. The men who are restoring this house and enlarging it now under the supervision of the owners, June and Robert Caldwell, were impressed to find that this home had not sagged or leaned or in any way moved from its original foundation. It was set upon a hill and built to stay with loving hands, and June and Bob are the perfect ones to restore it. Let's talk a little bit about 1886. What go down 4 steps, and not a chance of dampness, because, as I told you, it was set upon a hill. Push the door in. Couldn't push it out because it was below ground. Push the door in, and please wipe your feet on the lovely braided corn husk doormat that Mama had made. To your right is the kitchen work table. Beside it is the little stand holding the water bucket. No inside plumbing, of course. Water came from the outside pump that had a coconut shell turned upside down on the top of it in case anyone wanted a nice, old, wonderful drink of water. How many remember that? Oh, boy. The big iron range, or cook stove, stood out from the back wall. Beside this was a closet for coats and hats and mittens. Then the winding stairs to the 2 light and lovely sitting rooms on the 2nd floor. But I want to talk a minute about the winding stairs. We have had the experience, my husband and I, of trying twice within the past 30 years to get 2 winding stairs built. No can do, they told us. But we finally found a retired master carpenter who said, I can do it. And he turned out a masterpiece. I rather think that the men who are working right now on the Arbutus Hill home could do it, because I have seen their work, and it is meticulously done. Every single nail and board. But let's keep going around the kitchen. On the wall, and I love this, on the wall directly opposite the entrance was a big cretonne-covered feather bed on the kitchen sofa. But this sofa was unique, not some flimsy piece of furniture. Beneath the feather bed was a wide, hinged lid that opened into the sweet potato bin. Thomas Jefferson was not the only one clever enough to build various utility articles in one piece of furniture. There was a chair beside the sofa, and Mama made good use of that, because whenever anybody felt bad, I think we just did it to get her attention, although it wasn't necessary, because she was always interested in what the kids were doing. But one day, I can tell you from experience, I said, Mama, I don't feel very well. And she said, well, lie down on the sofa. So I took off my shoes and I lay down, and Mama immediately pulled her big gingham apron off and spread it over me. And I said, Mama, I'm not cold. She said, I know, but whenever you lie down, you should have a light cover over you. Then she went to the cook stove, and she poured a cup of hot water, and she went in the dish closet, and she got a handful of bone-set dry leaves and put them in and stirred it and let it sit there a minute and gave it to me to drink. It had to be good. Mama did it. It was bitter, wet, but in 5 minutes, I was cured. Do any of you know about bone-set tea? I wanted to bring a plant today, and Bob and June and I hunted for one yesterday, but Boneset isn't up just yet. Then around the corner was a desk full of books worth reading. Get that. Thank heaven that desk is now rescued and ensconced in the Caldwell dining room. And when they move into the Arbutus Hill house, you can bet your bottom dollar that desk will go back where it belongs. We can't leave the kitchen yet. There's a little shelf nailed right over the stove, nailed to the beams. If you want to, you can guess what it was for. Okay. It was to dry Mama's yeast cakes on, because Mama made her own yeast cakes. I wish I knew all the ingredients, but I know two of them: cornmeal and, believe it or not, the leaves of a peach tree. Aren't you surprised? I was.
Oh, my.
Mama's yeast cakes were wonderfully alive, we might say. And she made all her own bread. And it was, even to this day, the very best bread I ever ate. Sometimes I'd eat 4 slices. The only reason I didn't eat 5 was because I couldn't hold them. Now into the dining room. This was, I guess I could say, the room. Right here. To the right was another big desk. And I seem to remember it was a roll top. I assume they kept their receipts, receipted tax bills, and important stuff, but boring to children, in that desk. Of course, I never looked in. I wasn't told not to. At Mama's house, no one was ever told not to do anything. We just assumed that we wanted to do what was right. I'm telling you, there was a glow in that house. I remember. And I never heard her say to one kid, "Quit that. Stop it. Go on out and play." I never heard her say it. And any of you people who were lucky enough to be there, I'm sure would agree with that. All right, we're in the dining room. Going around from the desk were beautiful hanging plants, hanging from the beams, and the nails are still there, and they're going to stay there. Bob told me so. And then there were wide shelves, and her houseplants were dreamy. She had, I don't know all of them, I forget. She had asparagus fern, Christmas cactus, amaryllis, gloxinias. I particularly remember the gloxinias because although I think they're a cousin of the African violet, the leaves are similar but much larger, and the flowers, instead of being little bitsy things like on a violet, were trumpets, that big, white, pink, purple, and red. Oh, how I thought they were so gorgeous, and I didn't think I'd ever get one. But without asking, Mama broke off a leaf and said, "Now take it home, put it in damp sand, and you'll grow a plant." I didn't doubt it. Sure enough, in 2 years, I had gloxinias. And when I went to transplant it, believe it or not, on the bottom of that little stem was a bulb. That's the difference in gloxinias and African violets. A bulb. I couldn't believe it, but I had to. many, but only a third as large. And I keep looking every year in the seed catalogs, hoping that somebody will have sense enough to offer them. Years ago, I was writing a column named Uncle Zeke. Do any of you remember Uncle Zeke? Well, good. And I mentioned that I wish I had some Crowder beans. Okay. About a week later, here comes a parcel post package from Perla Caldwell Sack. And it was Crowder beans. And if I'd had good sense, I would have saved a few and planted them every year, because I've never had them sent. Then she had stewed ground cherries. I never saw them anywhere else. Little cherries about that big and yellow. And they don't grow on trees, they grow on bushes about this high. They're called cherries, ground cherries. And she used to stew them. I don't think she put any sugar in them at all, and they were sweet, good. Oh, man. And her fried sweet potatoes. Never greasy, never flimsy, cut in thin slices and fried, and turned once, and each side as brown as a crust of bread. Any of you remember fried sweet potatoes like that? Oh.
Oh, you did.
And her creamed carrots. Now, I consider myself a good cook. In fact, all of us South Jersey girls were born knowing. I believe that, because we have fried tomatoes that they never heard of in New York or Philadelphia. Anyway, maybe you did hear them. If you did, you can correct me. But the people I've spoken to, they don't know what fried tomatoes are. Okay?
We had a farm.
Oh, lovely. And you have it. Okay. But I want to tell you about the creamed carrots. Now, when I cream carrots, of course, I slice them thinly, and I cook them, and then I add the milk and this and that, and then I make thickening, and I throw that in, and I pray to God it won't be full of lumps. Not Mama. When the milk began to boil, she would take about 2 tablespoons full of flour and sift it in like it was nothing, and stir it a little bit. Delicious, and never a lump. I call that magic. I don't think I could do it. I never dared try. I always figured I had to fiddle around with it. We had lots more to eat, of course. We had lima beans, and we had poke. Poke is supposed to be a weed, and it has a very bad reputation. But when it's small, which is about now, it is more delicious than asparagus. And you cook it the very same way. We're told that when it's older, it's poison. Well, I don't know. But I do know that Mabel, one of Mama's children, cooked the pokeberries, strained them, added a little water, and drank it, and she said it really helped her arthritis. So they couldn't be all bad, could they? We used to sing a lot around the table. Polly Wolly Doodle. And sometimes we'd sing hymns. We'd sing Since Jesus Came Into My Heart, Brighten the Corner Where You Are. And we would sing that children's song that all the kids learn, I think, still in Sunday school. Jesus loves the little children. All the children of the world. Did I say all? Did I? That's why I thought so. We had a debate one night. Bertha and Perla took the affirmative, and Mabel and I were stuck with the negative. And the subject was Rip Van Winkle. Now, Bertha and Perla said, yes, when he woke up, he would be a changed man. He would no longer be lazy. He would get everything done he was supposed to have done. And then it was our turn. And we used that line, how does that go? A leopard does not change his spots. I don't know who won that debate. And Mama was the judge, but I think she called it a draw, if I remember correctly. Anyway, right now, I would like to ask you a question, and I'm serious about this. What would Rip Van Winkle do if he ended his 20-year sleep today?
Go back to sleep.
What would he do? Would he be terribly stunned and hurt to see so much of our woodlands slashed down? Would he rise up and speak against it? Or would he turn over and say, well, I can't do nothing about it, and go to sleep again? I mean, this is a serious question I'm asking you. Also, suppose he did, suppose he went to sleep today and slept another 20 years. When he awoke, would he find himself in a desert? I ask you. I don't know how many new roads we counted as we came up the street tonight. 8 or 9, I think. How many trees is that went down? And how much more blacktop is going to go in? And after a while, where in the heck are we going to get a drink of water? I mean, this is serious. I hope you don't mind my inserting that, because I feel very strongly about it. And I think we should all stand up and be counted before we are a desert. It's not as far away as you think. Okay, take it or leave it, my darlings. We also had art. On the side of the table, there were always pencils and papers and plenty of really art paper. Mama never said, now we'll have art. She'd just pick one up, and she would draw. Her specialty was oak trees. She never said, look at it. She sat there and you knew it was an oak tree. The bark was there. The stretching of the branches were there. And how I wish I had had sense enough to say, Mama, may I please have one to keep? You know, when we're little, we don't really think of the things that we wish we had done. Mama was an artist. She just was. And sometimes we'd have music, because Mama would play her fiddle. It was a very special violin, because her son Bill made it. It was absolutely beautiful. You would never believe that it just popped up at Arbutus Hill. It was shiny and svelte, and the tone was delightful. Mama let me take it home one time. Huh, she must have trusted me. And I tried it. All I could get was the noise you hear when you scratch a blackboard. But there is a man here tonight. He lives in Marmora, and he was privileged to take lessons with Mama. His name is George Winter, and there he is with Sadie, his wife. And I want to tell you something cute. They met in my 7th grade in Tuckahoe, and when they were old enough, they got married, and they have a lovely son. And I think And I wanted to wind it in, and I had a good chance about the violin. Mama also played the cornet. She was really something else. One night, we got to talking about temper fits. She never said, now we're going to talk about this tonight. You know, it just flowed in. We talked about temper fits. And she said, and we agreed, that some people keep their anger all bottled up, and others rant and rave. I've been known to. And I'll always remember one thing Mama said that night. She said, you know, it's possible to swear without saying a word. You can swear by slamming a door. Before we leave the dining room, I must tell you about that's the cream carrots, I already told you. I want to tell you about a game we had in there. It was about 16 inches square, a board, that some of the kids had made it, and it had nails. And every nail had a number, 2, 7, 14, 50, this and that and the other. Then you would step back, and you would toss jar rubber rings at that. It was fun. And did our addition improve? I never saw Mama make her bread, or sweep the floors, nor dust, but there was never a speck of dirt anywhere. Mama was magic. I suppose she did all those things after we went to bed. I don't know, but I know this. I never heard her say that she was tired, that she had too much to do, that she didn't know when she'd ever get caught up. Mama's life was, as a poet said, one grand sweet song. It really was. We never felt that we were bothering her. I'm sure we were sometimes. And she never studied psychology, but oh boy, did she know it. She enfolded us. She shared every day with us. Who needed the radio and the TV? She shared every single day and always had something interesting to tell us, and always had some project that we would fall head over heels in love with. It didn't matter whether we were in the 3rd grade or whether I was 20, there was always something there that I felt rewarded when I went back home. Somewhere along the line, I was told I could throw in my own thoughts if I wanted to. Somewhere along the line, this modern day has lost something precious. I heard a lady say last summer, I don't know what I'll do today. It's raining, and the kids can't go to the beach, and the television's broken, and she was beside herself. She was beside herself. I felt like saying, darling, read him a story. Talk to him. Help him make a pan of fudge. Show an interest in them. Share your day with them. Give your kids a break. And don't encourage them to be TV mushheads. Today, from my observation, many of our children are growing up without ever having their parents share an hour with them. This was never the case at Arbutus Hill. And I claim this is one of the greatest reasons that every one of those kids turned out good. Do I hear an amen? Amen. Amen, you Methodists. But you know, this idea of going along with the crowd is really not a new thing. I heard a lady, 65 years old, and should have known better, who was going to some sort of a ritzy-titsy dinner, and she said she'd love to wear her grandmother's solid gold beads. But, she said, they aren't wearing gold beads this year. Who are they? May I suggest to you that the more important question is, who am I? Robert Frost nailed that down when he wrote, I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. How many of you like that? I love it. When I found this speech was coming up, I phoned one of our dearest friends, and I asked him to sing 2 hymns that had been favorites of Mama Caldwell's. He didn't beat around the bush and didn't say, oh, I don't think so. He agreed immediately, and I appreciate it, and I'm going to call on him right now. Mr. Somers Corson.
This isn't what I did say, it's what I didn't say, brother. I don't know as I can. I need practice. I think the safest way, if you know the pieces, sing along with Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already won. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will see me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, with no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Well, I wasn't here all the time. Claire told you, of course, that she was really my Aunt Martha, too. Great Aunt
You
Martha.
bet. I'll get to that.
Oh, you'll get to that. I should have known you wouldn't leave anything out. Now, the other, I don't know whether I can remember all the words or not.
That's okay.
Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, that calls me from a world of care, and bids me at my Father's throne, make all my wants and wishes known. In seasons of distress and grief, my soul has often found relief, and often take the captor's stand, find my return, sweet hour of prayer.
God bless you, Somers. That was lovely. Yes, I do want to say that Somers' grandfather, here we go, Somers. Somers' grandfather was George Huff. And he had the spark of genius that seemed to run through that family. He built himself a lovely house. He built himself a lovely house in Petersburg. And when I was a little kid, I was fascinated because he had an overhead garage door that he had invented. No electricity. He would drive part way into his driveway, run over a board. I don't know what that had to do with it because I'm not mechanically minded. But when he ran over this board, up went the door. That was Somers' grandfather. And also George Huff's brother. Is that okay, Somers? I do want to say that all the plans for the restoration of this house were made by Robert Caldwell. His profession is engineering, but he didn't stop there. He had a dream, and he set it down on paper, and it's being followed, and it's being done. And if you drive up past the Petersburg church about a mile or maybe 2, how far is it, Bob?
A mile.
A mile. On the hill, oh boy, you will see something worth looking at. Also, he is very generous, and he wanted me to be sure to say that Roberta Entrican helped, I don't know how to put this because I'm not an architect, but she helped make the original, the final
drawings,
plans.
yes.
And
Dorothy's.
they are gorgeous. And before we go home, did you bring them, Bob?
Yes.
Okay, before we go home, you're going to get to see them. I thought that would be a nice part of the program. A little later, I want you to come up and see these things. By the way, when I came, there was this gorgeous bouquet of Lily of the Valley, and whoever brought it, I thank you very much. This graced the table. They're so sweet and beautiful. And there are a lot of them at Arbutus Hill. I can't tell you how many. I guess they would reach from that wall to this table and all the way over to that wall. They've just grown and grown, and they are beautiful. And I have made a card. I'm glad I brought an extra card because I didn't know that my nephew was bringing whippoorwill shoes. You may call them orchids if you wish. And And here was a card, so there's one for that. And each one is named. They don't all grow at Arbutus Hill, but most of them do. And also, there are a lot of things that grow there that I didn't have time to collect. The one that we, of course, have written in red is Arbutus. And it's almost gone by now, because even though it's called a Mayflower, sometimes it's out in March. But leave it to Bob. He found a sprig. So if you're not familiar with Arbutus, please come up and look at it. This is a recipe. Bertha made the most delicious cheese wafers that ever were. And I brought the recipe. And if you want to copy it, you're welcome. And I'm going to give it to June. Mama Caldwell grew roses. You say, so what? I'll tell you so what. She planted the seeds. Now that's a trick because roses are very hard to germinate. And if you plant 10 seeds, you're lucky if you get 3 plants. But she planted a lot because she had a plan. She wanted a rose bush for every one of her kids, and she did it. The most beautiful one, I think, was the one she named Virgil. Pure white, Perla had one. Pure white with a ruffle around the edge and a creamy, urn-shaped center. Absolutely beautiful. Would you like to hear about ground puppies?
Yes.
Okay. We were in there one day on what we were doing, making molasses candy probably, and Hollis came in and he said to me, did you ever see a ground puppy? I said, no. We said, come on out. There's one out by the woodpile. Man, I was out that door like a shot because I thought I was going to see a darling little puppy dog with fluffy ears. No way. It was a pinkish, sort of pinkish-brownish lizard, about that big, lying in its own little nest under a log. He moved the log and showed it to me. Well, I pretended to be interested, but I was terribly disappointed. But as the years went by, and I thought about that little brown puppy, I thought, well, he was happy there. He was comfortable. And every guy's got to be someplace. And then one day, 4 of us, Mabel, Perla, Bertha, and me. I didn't do that on purpose, really, I didn't. We decided we'd go walking, and Bertha found a lizard. Cute little guy, gray, and she was walking along with him. Somebody said, Bertha, look at your lizard. All she had was the tail. They really, truly can drop their tails and scoot. Now, you've heard that story before, and you may say, that's not true. Please believe me, it happened. So that's the story of the brown puppy and the lizards. I think a mama growing those roses from seed. And I think she must have felt a little bit like Grace Noel Cole felt when she wrote, I planted a rose, and I talked with God, and I looked straight up in the high, bright blue, and I said, Dear God, you do the rest. I've done all of it. I learned that poem years ago, and I still think it's precious. Mama was a dedicated botanist. I don't mean she went to college and learned it. She learned it from loving everything that grew. And a lot of the stuff that I know now, I learned from Mama. and some from my dear father, because he loved everything that grew too. Wouldn't cut a tree down for anything in the world. And if he wanted to farm there, he'd just go around a tree, like the Indians are supposed to have done. So besides the bone set tea, sometimes she would make tea-berry tea. There's a little piece of tea-berry here with one berry on it. That wasn't to cure us of anything. It was sort of a treat. You just grab a cup of hot water and put in a handful of tea-berry leaves. Please don't pull up the whole thing. Take your scissors and snip off the leaves, because they're getting scarce too. And it makes a delicious drink. There was another plant that she gathered called Pearl Everlasting. It grows about this tall in abandoned fields, and the heads look like little pearls before they dry. You pick them off, and you make a pillow. You stuff the pillow with the Pearl Everlasting heads. And when you have a headache, you press your face against that pillow. And don't take my word for it. Gather some and try it yourself. It works. You know about that? I saw you smiling. I thought maybe you knew about it. I told you about the Pope. She knew all the herbs and all their uses. Oh, we didn't have a telephone up there. So we never thought about it. We never missed it. Wouldn't that be wonderful? We also never had an ash track. I saw a wonderful thing up at Arbutus Hill, and the oak tree is still there. I saw it yesterday. Way up high where you couldn't reach it. Not any larger around than a nickel. Glued to the limb, not in a crotch, but just on the limb, was a hummingbird's nest. If you have sharp eyes, I hope someday you see one. It's the one and only one I ever saw. I am coming to the end, and I'm sorry, because there are lots more things I could tell you. But I don't want you to stay till the wee hours. And besides, it looks as if refreshments are coming up. I imagine we'll have them before the business meeting. Is that right, Mrs. Albrecht? That's right. 5 of Mama's children graduated from Upper Township High School. I'm surprised how many people don't know we did have a high school. There were 3 rooms, 3 teachers, and we had a complete curriculum. We even had sociology. And we had a baseball team. I don't know if we ever won, but we had it. And we had a basketball team, and I was captain. Oh my. And we played, one time we played the Wildwood team. Well, they had been having a team for ages, and also they had a lot of people to draw from. And the score was pretty lopsided. Well, the next day in school we had literary. Oh yes, we had a literary society. Yes. And I was called upon to report the game. Well, I had to give the score. But I did say, and the ones on the team died laughing, because actually we made exactly 2 points in the game. But I fixed that because I said, we saw that go through the hoop time and time again. I don't know whether any of the other children graduated from high school, but Emma, that was the oldest daughter, studied and became a trained nurse. And later she went to California, and she married a nice guy out there. And she brought Mama, this will be your gift, a little tree. It's a conifer, as you can see. And do come up and see these darling little cones on it. The tree is, higher than this room now, I think, and also some little ones coming up around it. She also has sweet shrub. Do you know the strawberry shrub?
Right.
Oh, it smells so good. Be sure and take a sniff. Mama had a collection on the second floor. Of course, that's where the organ was and the piano. Later, she had a piano. And I understand that she gave lessons, Mabel, I'm speaking of now, to Grace,
Garrity.
help me.
Garrity.
Oh, yeah, Grace Garrity, whose music we have enjoyed in the churches. Anyway, Mama had on the wall framed displays of moths and butterflies. And up until I went there, I just thought, well, there goes a butterfly, But after you learned about them, they meant so much more to you. And I brought one tonight. I believe Mama said that is a cecropia moth, not a butterfly, a moth. I found a cocoon in my yard 2 years ago, took it in the house, and one day, much to my surprise, here came this beautiful moth. So I'm glad I saved it for you to see tonight. One day when George was in high school, he walked in the study hall, and 2 or 3 girls had their heads together, and of course he wanted to know what was going on. And one of the girls, being brash, you know how it is in high school, said, "We're tatting. This is of no interest to you." George didn't say a word, but he went home that night and learned to tat. He really did. Hollis dearly loved the land. He was a very knowledgeable farmer, and he propagated Mama's gooseberry bushes. And he gave me one years ago, and I still have it, and it's full of blossoms, and I still them. If there are any left after I get through eating them raw, right over the bush. I prize it to this day. As a sideline, once he decided he would make cement blocks. So he investigated the type of sand he needed, and he did it, and he sold them. Later he had, for a long, long time, a very responsible position with the Ocean City Water Company. He wanted a home for him and Thelma, so he went to Uncle George Hupp, and he and Uncle George built the house that is beautifully kept even today, and the house in which Bob and June are living until theirs gets completed. I must tell you about Mama's stone garden. Mama believed that line from the Bible, "He who has eyes, let him see." So when she noticed a stone that was nicely shaped or a pretty shade or this or that, she'd pick it up, take it home, put it in front of the house, and when I was about 16, she had a lovely stone garden, and she had it in designs, circles, squares, triangles, whatever. Why don't we do that? We look at a stone and we just think, oh, it's a stone, and we go on. But you see, that's what made Mama special. Nothing got past her eye but a cinder. Wash day was fun. No running water, as I told you before. 2 big tubs outside. One filled with hot water and soap, and the other, of course, the cool rinse water. We didn't have any washing machine, but we did have some sort of a gadget. It looked like an inverted funnel, had a long handle, and you pushed up and down in the hot, sudsy water with this thing, and would actually vacuum out the dirt. To this day, I cannot remember which oak trees the clothesline were stretched between. But that's how we washed. And just because of this gadget, it was made into a fun thing. All the kids wanted to punch it, me included. So I guess that is about all I can tell you tonight. I hope I've said a few things worth hearing, and I thank you for coming.
We want to thank you, Claire, and I'm sure everybody enjoyed it, and Jude and Bob. And
That's
one
one
day
more
we're
thing,
going to
Jim. Thank you. My daughter reminded me of this, and I'm glad, because when I make a promise, I try to keep it. Yesterday, as we were going around Arbutus Hill, selecting these lovely things and getting the thrill out of it, I said, would you like to hear my poem about spring? And Bob said yes. So I changed the subject, because then there, I thought, I won't tell him now. I'll tell him tomorrow night, which is tonight. It's called Walking in the Woods. Oh, I went for a walk one fine spring day, and the things I found along the way. I saw a brown thrush and a wren or two, and alongside the road grew a whippoorwill. It was pink and frail and had leaves like down. And I wish I could have worn it back to town. When I came to the brook that was running free, I spied white lace on the maycherry tree. And the pitcher plant, growing down in the mud, was waving a foot-tall flower bud. Anemones bloomed white along the way. They're nice, but their name is so darn hard to say. The lupins, or crow's feet, were blue as could be. And the magnolia leaves looked like silver to me. The teaberry shoots were tender and young, and I chewed some and smiled when they burnt my tongue. The pines were putting out new green ends, and you might have thought that black snake and I were friends. Just you knock off from work for a half a day and sloom through the woods sometime in May. I told June and Bob I had a surprise, and I know they're busting to see what it is. Pearl was a wonderful scene. Well, there's life, there's soap. So there it is, and isn't it sweet? I think it's darling. Some of them had cardboard in to keep them stiff. No, I'm going to wear this and you can see it. Perla very carefully stitched and stitched and stitched. And also, you see this? That keeps the mosquitoes off. If anybody wants to buy this, save your breath. And now I really am finished. Wait a minute. I don't think it's a picture of that story.
Stay over here one second.
Oh, that looks great.
Okay, now I guess, what are we going to do now? Have refreshments?
I'm sorry that our president couldn't be here tonight. She's sick, and she would have enjoyed seeing all of you, and she would have liked Claire's presentation. It was delightful as usual, and we thank her very, very much.
Thank you, darling.
And I hope that you'll all stay for refreshments and stay for our business meeting. We have some really serious things to talk about, because all these things that Claire's talking about are endangered.
Amen.
Our area is endangered. And we have to care. We've got to start caring.
We have to care, sweetheart. We have to care.
While you're all still sitting, I'd like to tell you something that gave me great joy. And I don't know whether I can talk about it or not.
Go ahead.
And maybe some of you saw it. In one of the free newspapers this week, the Uncle family in Goshen refused to sell to Wawa. The reason being, it wasn't fair to their neighbors. And I think that's a beautiful gift to give, a wonderful gift. And I hope their neighbors will be as considerate of them when the next proposition comes down the pipe. So think about it a lot, because, and the children here should look at these things.
Yes, they should.
Because we're lucky. We saw them. But our children won't see them, and our grandchildren. Please stay and have some coffee with us. I'm so glad that you all came. It's wonderful.
I don't know, Claire brought it. It's a school picture and